You didn't come this far in early childhood education to wake up one day and ask yourself, do I even still like this? Between staff and struggles, parent pressures, and that never ending to do list, even the most passionate directors can feel like they're running on fumes. Yeah, right? That's why today on the Childcare Directorship podcast, I'm sitting down with the amazing Tonya Muhammad of Daycare Chronicles 101 to talk about how to keep your fire lit without letting it burn you out. Tanya brings her signature real talk, humor, and heart to this episode. Together, we're going to unpack what it really means to stay passionate, grounded, and human in leadership. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Hi, Erica. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this conversation. I really, really am.
So, for the folks who don't know you, which is probably not many, but the folks who don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here in the field.
So, I have been a family childcare provider for 35 years this upcoming December. I started as a young mom, and I wanted to stay home with my own children. And it just has blossomed into Daycare Chronicles 101. In 2019, I was standing in my backyard, and God said to me, you need to start sharing your story. And this was like during COVID.
Mhm.
And I've just been obedient to that. And I remember I was telling my husband, I only have 64 followers, because I was 55 just getting into social media. I knew nothing about it, and it has just grown and it's just blossomed. And I've created my consulting company. I'm a sought after speaker, teacher, just different things like that, mentor, coach. And I've started my own podcast as well. I've written a book. I've written an online course. Like, family childcare is who I am. And you don't have to you can't limit yourself. When you have different talents, and God gives us all multiple talents, you got to tap into them. And my purpose here is just to help others, not to make the same mistakes and, OJT that I did. There's no need for that. Let's share. And so I'm one of those providers and a consultant and coach now that shares information.
We are so similar. So I'm 55 right now.
Okay.
I think I've had an IG for about a year, still trying to figure
Okay.
that thing out. But yeah, and I think we evolve as educators,
Yes.
and entrepreneurs. I think we evolve
Yes.
over time. I started similarly. I had my daughter and I was like, I'm not sending my baby with people I didn't know. So I quit my job and went to work in a daycare. Now I own them. But yeah, it's funny how so many of us have very similar stories.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm sure this might also be similar. Since you've been in the field so long, when did you ever feel your spark starting to fade? And maybe what helps you reconnect with your why?
I will say that at this time, it may have been around the shift change with the children around COVID. And I quit every day. I'm like, I'm quitting today, for doing this so long. However, it's just my purpose. And I know that. But I
Mhm.
felt it around that time because the children are different. The children that we have now are totally different because of the circumstances from COVID and just culture and just the way that this world is today. So for someone that's quote unquote old school, it can be a little challenging. So you have to be able to shift and pivot. And
Yeah.
so that's so important. And that's what I teach providers now. And we talk about and we discuss is you got to make that shift and that pivot. But it was, I would say, definitely around COVID where I've just seen this big shift change.
Hmm. I can remember here in our state, our particular city. I think we might have been the last school to actually go back to school in person, and we had to
Okay.
do distance learning. And I have an after school program, and that after school program, I think for the first 2 weeks, I went home and cried and said to my husband, "I can't do
Yeah.
this. I
Yeah.
can't do this because." I had like 80 students all on Chromebooks, all different classes,
Yeah.
all different schedules. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is impossible. So I think COVID really hit all of us. And it's so funny because
Yeah.
it seems like it was so long ago, but we're still
Yeah.
feeling
No.
the effects now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have like a daily or weekly practice that ground you back to your purpose?
My faith keeps me grounded. I'm a Muslim woman. And so my faith keeps me grounded. And, just absolutely understanding that I learned early that you have to take time for yourself. You have to know when it's time to reset. You can't just keep going and going and going because you find yourself being irritated with yourself, with your children, with the family. And so I just finished taking this amazing training called the California Family Teaching Pyramid. And I feel like every provider within their first year needs to take this. It just speaks so much on and teaches so much on social and emotional for the children, but for the providers as well. And so that training just really has even reignited me even more. But I'm a provider that takes time for herself. I'm a provider that knows, like, okay, you got to understand these are children. They're not going to be perfect. We're adults and we're not perfect. And you got to understand the developmental profile. And you can't put these children in a box. So that's why I love having an outdoor classroom, because I don't see a lot of the things that are going on that some other providers do, because I'm outside as well. We need to get out of four walls and get outside and enjoy the sun. The wind coming, the birds. Like, we need to enjoy nature too. We need something that's going to keep us grounded. And being inside four walls all day, that's just not it. That's frustration to me. When it rains, I'm like, you know.
I do. I do. And, it's so nice you're in California. You have, beautiful weather for most of the year.
Yeah.
And I guess it's cool where we are. We have seasons. So that
Yeah.
also can be cool. But so a lot of directors confuse burnout with boredom. How
Yes.
can you tell the difference and why does it matter?
So I experienced this. I can really explain this to you. So boredom is just when you're just doing the same redundant thing every day, when your creativity is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just doing it's just routine. And it can't just be routine with this. You're dealing with inquisitive minds. You have to think about, they're like sponges, really. And so even for yourself, when you just keep doing the same thing day after day after day, and it's just redundant, you lose your thrive for this. For me, burnout is just working, and you don't take a break.
Mhm.
You don't take a break. Well, I can't close because my clients, what are they going to do? Why are you worried about that? You're entitled to a vacation. Your clients take vacation or days off. You're entitled to that. Don't worry. I don't worry about it. If they ask me for a referral, I have providers that I can refer you to, but I let my clients know early in the year, in January, you get your vacation schedule, my vacation schedule for the year. My days off, my vacations, all of those things. And sometimes other things may come up. And I always let them know in the holiday and vacation schedule, this is the tentative schedule. However, it may change if something comes up. But you have to give your parents enough notice. And you can't feel guilty. You cannot just work, and not restore yourself, not replenish yourself. You cannot do that. The body is not built or made that way. Our organs don't work like that.
Not only the body, the spirit ain't built like that either.
No, absolutely. You'll look
Yeah.
up and you'll be passed out on that floor because your body needs to reset. You have to.
Yeah. Let's talk about this for a second. Can being under challenged be just as dangerous as being overworked?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It absolutely can. This is a profession to where, in family childcare, a lot of providers become complacent. You cannot be complacent because you have to think about the children that you have in your care. You want to give them the best. You want to keep up with technology. You want to keep up with the modern times. And these children are different. These children are coming out the womb, standing up, rolling over, holding their heads up. Like, these are not those babies from when I was born, from when you were born, from when my grandchildren were even born 5 years ago. These children are different. And they are quick. And I think for me, the biggest thing is I love getting infants, because you get to build that trust. You get to really show them love and compassion. And what a lot of providers don't understand is that for me, it's not about that money. We all want to have to make a living, but it's about building that bond. It's about caregiving is curriculum. So taking care of the children, meeting their needs, getting to know each one of them individually, because even though we have the group setting, you still have individual personalities. You still have individual learning styles. We do so much for those of us in this industry that we don't even realize on a daily basis. But you have to stay engaged. You have to stay connected. And so I'm so happy for social media now because we're able to meet other providers all around the world. We've connected, whereas you're not just sitting there with just those babies all day and you don't have nobody else to talk to, you don't have nobody else to vent to, like you can't get ideas from anybody. Like I love the creativity that I'm seeing. And so I feel like this is just such a blessing to us, used in the right way.
Yeah. So, and at the beginning of the podcast, you talked about all these things that you're doing. I write a book, I coach, so like those things too are ways that you challenge yourself
Yeah,
to keep getting better, right? So
absolutely.
yes, with the children, but then also with others in the field, our colleagues, our
Yes.
cohorts.
Yes.
So let's be real. There are days that we all want to quit.
Yeah.
What do you say to yourself in those moments when you're like, I'm over it, but I'm on the deep end, but you're not really going anywhere.
Right. I live in that moment because about a week ago, I did a post on Instagram to where I literally was in tears. It's just like sometimes you just feel like you're just underappreciated, and sometimes you feel like I'm just doing so much and I'm tired. And you know what? It's okay to be tired. Recognize that you are tired. There are days when I'm like, okay, we're just gonna make it simple. Cause I'm love my outdoor classroom. I have my indoor classroom. And some days I'm just like, we're not doing all that today. We're gonna make it simple. And COVID has taught me too, I'm more play-based now. And I'm learning that is just such an amazing place to be. I still have the worksheets. I still have the dry erase books. I love dry erase. So I still have those things if a child is interested in that. But I am no longer stressing myself out, trying to make a 2-year-old, 3-year-old sit there. This is no, I'm not doing that. I want them to be happy because I want to be happy, and it's really just for me, it's just about having those days where it's okay to do nothing. It's okay to do a setup and just let them go. It's okay. And then that way you find yourself not being so stressed out. A lot of us feel guilty. Well, they don't have to. They're children. They learn through play.
Yeah.
As long as they're safe, in a safe environment, as long as you're meeting their needs, they're fine. We put that stress on ourselves, and then it's the competitiveness with other providers. Well, she's doing this. I want to do this too. Well, that's her. You can get ideas from everybody, but you have to tailor your program to you. It's okay to say, hey, I like that theme. I want to do that theme. It doesn't have to be way over the top. It could be something smaller. Because what I'm struggling with right now and having to shift and pivot with is the age groups are younger. I'm used to having children until they go like to kindergarten. So now with TK, Head Start, early Head Start, and they don't require potty training anymore in the state of California, something new. The children are leaving at like 3 and 4. So I'm dealing with newborn to pretty much age 2. So that's a shift change for me. So, and I'm having a wonderful time with it because it's challenging me. However, at the same time, I'm looking at each child and saying like, okay, what are they interested in? Because I have all these things and they'll be like, I don't want to play with that. And you're like, I just can't make them. You got to meet their needs.
Yeah. So in your experience, what are some of like the red flags that directors should be looking for when they're edging towards burnout?
I would say the irritation, the frustration that you're feeling, the headaches, the body aches, paying attention to your body. because your body's going to let you know. And then if you're just like there, like I had employees, at one time or another. The one I have now, she's amazing, but they just like, just coming to work. Girl, where's your
Mhm.
energy? We're dealing with children. I need your energy. When you feel that you have no energy, that you just reading a book, just mundanely, like, no, these children need the best of you. When you find yourself to where you're just like, it's just routine and it's just like, okay, they're coming today, where you don't care about what you feed them. You don't care about, the lesson or the curriculum. You're not setting up things for them. When you get to that point, then it's definitely time to take a step back and reevaluate. And oftentimes it's just a break that's needed.
Yeah.
It's just a break. In state of California with family childcare, the providers have to be at the facility 80% of each day. So when you see providers that are on vacation and they don't, the daycare is supposed to be closed unless you have another licensee on your license with you.
Hmm.
But you are not to leave your staff at your daycare while you off in Cancun somewhere. And what if something happens?
Yeah.
You in Cabo, turning
Mhm.
up and a child and family hit their head. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
So the staff needs a break too. My staff, I love my Rochelle so much. And so when we're off and I'm paid, she's paid too. I do special things for her. You have to invest in your staff. She's taking these trainings too, because if your staff isn't included, then they don't understand. And then that's going
Yeah.
to cause frustration for us as the owners.
Hmm. Yeah. Some warning signs that we need to look for in ourselves, like you said, headaches. So sometimes it's not wanting to go in, not wanting to get out of bed, just like not feeling like you
Yeah.
said that energy. You gotta check yourself. So you're known for your energy and your realness. So how do you stay emotionally sane in a field that doesn't stop for anything or anyone?
I have my moments. I just said I had a moment a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
However, for me, it's my faith. I understand that I get to do something every day that I realized was my purpose. And I'm very organized. I am one that has to have structure. So for me, I know what I need as a person. I know what I need. And I love the children that I care for. And for the most part, I will say that I know that what I give them on a daily basis, because they're with me more hours throughout the week, is so important because the parents aren't able to because of society and, what we're doing culture. They got to work. So I am that Auntie Tanya. I am that Tata, I am that person. And I have invested so much in my business to where I have 4 sheds. So it's never a dull day over here. You know what I'm saying? Like I have so many different resources that I can go and tap into to keep me interested. And what I realize is that you're buying because you need to stay interested. I realize that about myself. And so the children get to be the amazing recipients of that too. And not to say that's a good or a bad thing, but my creativity is overflowing at 58 years old. When I say overflowing, it is overflowing. God has poured so much into me because he knows that I love what I'm doing. So the ideas never stop, Erica. They never
Yeah.
stop. I don't have to buy another thing on this planet for my daycare because I
Yeah.
have what's needed. And I love to share. So I will share with other providers as well. And that's what keeps me going. It's just the
Mhm.
love for what I do. And I still take trainings. I
Yeah.
still just took a course at UCLA Extension, and those things keep me interested. And what the UCLA course did was for me, it validated me as a provider. It let me know that God gave me everything I needed. I'm doing everything that's in these course books already. I could teach the class.
Yeah.
So I realized how blessed I am to do what I do. And I love me, number one. I love myself. A lot of people don't love themselves and they don't realize that they don't. So, and having the amazing husband that I have, who's also a teacher, so he understands. He
Mm-hmm.
gets it, you know? There are days when I cry and I'm just like, I quit today. I'm gonna quit today. I have a little song I sing, right? And my assistant, she grooving with me. I said, I'm gonna quit today because you have those days. But the good days absolutely outweigh the bad days.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So what are some creative outlets or rituals that you think teachers or directors or owners can do to bring back fun into their day?
I would say that take these trainings that they're giving now. They're absolutely amazing. But then also go on Pinterest, go on Etsy, look at some things, go across social media and find some things that you like from other providers. Um, I remember when I was doing the clubhouse meeting all the time, we would have met so many women, so many amazing providers on there too. And we got to network and all of those things. And it was just beautiful to see. We have some amazing providers out there with amazing programs, with amazing ideas. Out here in California, we have Friends and Family. Chapre, I love her. You have Mrs. D. Frazier, love her, her setup. You have Tiny Toes. You have Color Me Happy. Like, there are so many. Baby on Wheels. Like, I know so many amazing providers. Layla Rascana, I love her. You know, the creativity is out there. So sometimes you got to, look at it through a different lens. Not that you have to be that person, but it's good to get motivated,
inspired,
to
yeah.
be uplifted about what we're doing. Because it's so easy just to become complacent. But daycare now, you better come with it. You better bring it. Like, really, really. And these children, for me, I love the aesthetics of things. One thing that I teach when I mentor and I coach, parents like what they see.
Yeah,
They like what they see.
they do. Yeah. Um, so as we start to wrap up, sometimes like we think passionate means that you have to be on all the time. Can you
Right.
talk about why passion doesn't equal perfection and how you give yourself grace on the hard days?
Now, I'm going to put my glasses on for this one because you sent me the question. So I was like, I want to make sure that I ask because this made me think about myself too, Erica. And so for me, it's about your purpose. It's about your work ethic. It's about direction, fulfillment, your clarity on your mission, because we all have many, many talents. We do. And we don't just have one. I'm not just a daycare provider. You start a podcast. I have a podcast. You have centers. You know what I'm saying? So we're more than just that. And so you have to really sit back and reevaluate yourself. You have to do a check-in with yourself to see, is this still my why? Or has my why changed? And if your why has changed, is this still where you want to be? Or do you see yourself oftentimes, because I started at humble beginnings. I was 23 years old when I started childcare. I had the toys for my children. Now I can probably provide toys to every daycare in LA with the supply that I have. So my why changed too. At first it was, oh, this is for my children. And then it was like, well, now it's for my grandchildren, because who else was going to keep my grandchildren? Nobody. So then it was the grandchildren. Now the grandchildren are both in school, and it's like, okay, what's your why? And I absolutely am a provider that believes that if I cannot meet the needs of a parent or a child, I will not keep them. I am not one. You could come in here with a family of 4, and it's like, oh, that's good money. But if I feel like I can't meet the need, or if I feel like this isn't a good fit, then I'm not going to take them, because it can eventually be a problem. I've had children that are on the autism spectrum. Like, I have an environment where they thrive, and I've kept them. And, I had other parents looking like, I was like, hey, we're not doing that. This child is here just like your child is here. And when I tell you that the children just thrive in my environment, those that stay, they thrive in my environment because I am intentional about everything that I do. It is well thought out, and most of it just comes off the top of my head. When you've been doing it so long, Erica, the ideas are there. And you just know you can spot something. And if you come in here and your spirit reminds me of somebody else, no, not do it. Been there, done that. Intuition.
So, as we start to wrap up, is there anything you'd really like to share that I didn't ask you?
I would just like to say that this is a field to where you cannot be in it just for the money. The money's going to come,
Mhm.
but you have to have a passion for children. You have to have this in you. You have to just be a nurturer by nature. It's who we are. You got to tap into that. And a lot of people are like, I just want to start for daycare. And I've done coaching sessions with people. I'm like, this isn't what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to do this for the money. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going to last. You're not going to sustain. Because once you get to dealing with clients and the children and the climate that we're dealing with now, you know,
That's a whole nother episode.
okay, I got you. Look, I got you. Yeah. But I will say for providers, stick to your rules and your regulations. Do not allow your clients to take advantage. It's okay to help. It's okay to be empathetic and all of that.
Mhm.
But when you see that you have someone that is just abusing it, then you got to stand your
Mhm.
ground. I've been a single mother, so I know what it's like to need help.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But you must stay professional. Don't be coming to the door in your bonnet, in your little, house slippers. Be professional. And when you are that way, your clients will respect you. There's not a day that I'm going to open that door with rollers in my head and a bonnet on. No, I'm not going to come to the door in my pajamas. You want to be respected as a businesswoman, as a professional, then you better hit that door before them children get there. You better be ready in the morning. Don't let that sun come up and you're not ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I do. I do. So, for those of you who tuned in, if this episode spoke to your heart, pause and take a breath. You're not alone, and
No.
you don't have to lead empty. Your next action step for this week is recommit to just one thing that brings you joy in your role, whether it's 5 minutes of silence in your office, dancing with the toddlers at circle time. Do it on purpose. And
Yeah.
don't forget to take a screenshot of this episode, tag us at CCDC Podcast or Daycare Chronicles 101. We are so happy that you joined us today. And
Aw.
guess what? This episode, I'm putting this episode up right now. Right now. This is going out today, which I never, ever, ever have put out an episode on a Saturday. But yours,
Oh,
Miss Sonia, is going to be the first. So
aw,
I'm going
thank
to put it
you.
up. You are wonderful and amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. For those of you who don't follow her on IG, hop on over. Is it Daycare Chronicles 101? Is that how it is on IG?
Yes, it's Daycare Chronicles 101 or the DC 101 podcast as well.
Okay, so check her out. We'll leave her contact info in the show notes below. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the Childcare
Oh,
Director Share podcast. You know I love you. That's all
oh,
for today.
thank you.